All right, what is going on, everybody? It is Next Wave analyst Peyton Pilgrim here with another midweek analysis. How's everybody doing? Got the hair down today, long hair, don't care. So we're looking at Thursday now that we've already missed some crazy numbers in the housing market, which pretty much expected. We're looking at Thursday, and I believe we have some CPI for Tokyo, which the JPY is probably going to move off of that. We have some initial jobless claims, jobs. They expect jobs to get better. I don't. I think jobs are going to get worse. And then we have GDP. So this is big for tomorrow, big for the dollar. If this is negative, which it's expected to be, I expect the indices to hit to the downside really hard. And almost either way, I'm looking probably for the indices to go to the ground. But this is something I didn't see. The ECB publishes account of monetary policy. So I'm not quite 100% sure what this is right here, but that'll be something I want to go back and look at. It's not going to really give me anything. But that's probably something that could shake the euro. So that'll be interesting. This is major though. This 730 GDP major, major, major. Okay, so that's pretty much what we're waiting for tomorrow is the 730 GDP numbers for the US dollar. I can go ahead and delete this since that order didn't ultimately hit. So we're going to do exactly how we always do. We're going to start on the weekly outlook. Here is everything we look at. And we will all get familiar with this one day because this is how the currency markets should be traded anyway. So everyone will eventually trade like this. It's not like I'm the pioneer. I've just learned correctly. So we're looking at the currency futures, the actual currencies, to figure out which single currency looks good. If we can find two that are looking good, then we compare them together, and that's the best forex pair that we're gonna be able to find. Okay. Other markets like crypto, like the indices, oil, gold, silver, those markets, you don't necessarily need to have the cross comparison of the two different currencies. That's I would say forex might be a little bit more difficult just because of that aspect. Now, of course, there are other supply and demand aspects in all these other commodities and indexes that you have to, be aware of as well. But I really think that analyzing the currencies as a whole first and then getting your probabilities based off of that is going to help you at least not lose money as much because that's something that I'll put my heart on. I do not lose a lot of money in trading. Now, I'm not the millionaire rolling around in the bins either because I don't believe in that type of risk. But this helps me extremely with my probabilities. And that's honestly all you're doing when you're analyzing the market. When you're analyzing, you're analyzing. When you're trading, you're trading. So when we're analyzing, we're really just trying to find our probabilities. So, last week's candle, we've already spoke about this. And last week's candle is just a big one, straight up, big candle, not the smallest volume, not the biggest volume, but definitely above average volume. And most likely prices going to head up to the upside. Okay, when I'm looking at the MACD, there is a little bit of this divergence here on the weekly, but that is really it. Everything else is pointing straight up for the dollar. Nothing is really screaming to me that this should fall yet. Okay. And when I go on to the daily, it gets a little messy. So I'm going to clean it up a little bit. This was an area we were looking to sell from, ultimately never got there. or it got there and it didn't sell off. I'm going to go ahead and just delete these little minor zones for now, and I'll be able to redraw them. And then this was the fib we were looking at that ultimately never played out. You see how fast price came to the fib area? We knew not to play the fib based off of that. So now what we're seeing, this daily fib is still holding. It can be deleted. Um, these are just obvious levels. This weekly level here, this was a volume level. We can delete that. These are pretty much the two important prices. We have the yearly point of control at 106.5 basically, and that's the highest traded volume of the whole year. And then we have down here at this weekly level, we're not worried about that yet. So really the area that I'm interested in the most for the dollar is right at this clean daily level, that at that 106.5, where price was in agreement for a good amount of time. And then we have shifted to the upside. Now, if these GDP numbers are bad, investors should want to get out of the stock market. I mean, housing numbers are bad. People are going to want to start getting out of the stock market eventually again, and is what I'm seeing. And so the ultimately, when people get out of stocks, the dollar goes up. So I want to see something like this happen where we get a retracement down into this level and then we move up. So maybe the news for the GDP isn't as bad as expected, but it's still going to be negative. Something like that would if it's negative, it's still bad. But if it's not as negative as it is expected, that could bring some short-term positive sentiment into the indices. And remember, like I said, the dollar pretty much tries to do the opposite of the indices in these type of risk off and risk on sentiments. When they start to change, the dollar and the indices really invertly correlate. But this is the move we're looking for the dollar. Doesn't even have to get too much complicated in this. We'll go down to the lower time frame to really look and see what we can find. And I must have all of my volume indicators off because I gotta have those on. All right. On the 4-hour, there is right at the yearly point of control. There's also a last week's point of control sitting right here. So this level is extremely important. We do have some untested volume at the week before, way at the bottom down here. And if price does get all the way down here, we'll just have to reassess everything, because then it will have broken out. Well, that's that stupid stupid mouse. Then it would have broken out of a lot of areas. So for now, we are looking for this area to hold. So is price going to get there? Really, ultimately, that's the play, right? If we can get this to break, okay, this area to break down, and really, I think if just this breaks with some strength, we're going to see, another wave down, because ultimately it tried to break here and it failed major, right? It tried to break here and it failed major. So there's definitely bears in the market. So if it can make one more move down, to me, that would be interesting. But we do have this open weekly POC. So let me go back to the 4-hour and see where this weekly POC is coming from. Okay, we've already cleared that out this week. So that's gone. This week's point of control is way up here, and it looks like we tapped it today on the lower time frames, which we did. Boom, tapped that weekly POC and moved to the downside. So far this week, I have to be bearish on it until I get a bigger signal for a turnaround. This area could be another area for a turnaround as well. So this fib area on the 1-hour, where we see a strong impulse in the MACD. So that's where the impulse started. That's where I put my fib. This could definitely be another area, but it's so close to the macro area I'm looking for, that it would be hard for me to take that. I would rather just wait. So ultimately, on the lower time frames, I think we're going to get a break here and another opportunity for a break and retest to take this down. But we got to be careful because at any moment, I do think the momentum can pop to the upside and take out these equal highs any moment. So if if you're going to play this little, it is a correction, even though the trend is starting to look like it's switching, it's still corrective. The dollar is not bearish at any, not yet. So any sells should be played at half risk. The opportunities are going to be there, I think, if we get a break, but ultimately know that this is, the smart money or the big money. What they do is they need liquidity. What is liquidity? Liquidity is buy or selling orders. It's just orders. Okay. And so if they need orders and they want to take the market to the upside, what do they need from us? What do they need for us to do? Can anyone in the chat answer that? If smart money or big money, if they need liquidity to move properly and they're bullish, what do we as retail traders have to do for them to move properly? Does anyone in the chat know? What do we have to do? The answer is, I'll wait just a second. I'll give someone maybe 3 more seconds to try to answer this because if you don't know, it's okay. We have to sell. Exactly. No. They don't have to take us out. They don't have to take us out, but we have to sell to them. So the smart money and I don't even like calling it smart money because they're not smart guys. They just have a lot of money. So what they have to do is they have to strategically wait for us to put liquidity into the market. So if they are bullish and they don't wait for us to sell and they just go, buy, let's buy 1,000,000 lots, the market's just going to go straight up and they're not going to get filled at the proper price. Yes, the market's going to go up. Yes, they're going to be correct, but they want a certain price. Okay. In every single market, there has to be a buyer in order for there to be a seller, and there has to be a seller in order for there to be a buyer. And so what the big money do, what they got to do to get the orders that they want is they have to kind of drop the price a little to make the retail traders really think the price is going to drop. So now we have a whole bunch of retail in the market. We have maybe some even hedge funds in the market. We're getting some other liquidity in the market. And that is selling orders. Now you got people who are willing to sell and these smart money people who are like, thank God, now we have liquidity. Now we can place all the buy orders we want without people knowing that we're buying, because every time the price is going down, they're buying that, 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 and they're getting to place their line of orders at low prices. Then the second the sellers get dry, the second the supply dries up, boop, they're in big profits and they caught the bottom and they start adding bags like crazy. They're doing is finding the path of least resistance. Okay, we just went on a big tangent on smart money and how it's really, really constructed, not the whole ICT bullshit. None of that. That's how money really moves. Liquidity really moves. So what, long story short, is if if the smart money want to send this up here above these highs, which let's be honest, they probably are gonna, because there are so many people selling right now. All they're waiting for is a little bit more people to sell, and then see ya. So if it happens, that is why it's going to happen. Okay, it's no one knows, but if that happens tomorrow and we don't get this move right here, kind of the break, retest, and then drop out, that's kind of the reason why, because they're using all of the sell liquidities to get the buying orders in. Now, ultimately, I'm still looking for this, guys. So it's got to drop another leg for me now, because I don't think I'm going to be comfortable with it. If it comes up here and holds at this level, I don't know if I'm going to be super comfortable. I'll feel like it's going to start making an uptrend already on me. So it needs to break impulsively, because even right now, I'm starting to see divergence. I'm starting to see divergence even on the 1 hour. If it comes down below this low, this is the low it needs to break on the MACD. I'm sure the RSI looks very similar. So it's a very low risk play for the dollar. All right, that means the euro, and I'm going to look at the euro fast. Yep, the euro did exactly what we were looking for it to do. It played off the 78.6 perfectly, and it's most likely going to move to the upside. Is it going to take out these lows first? It could still. This could be a little form of accumulation. I want to go to the daily to see. So yeah, we have major divergence here. Major divergence on the daily. I personally want price to come down into the bottom of the channel to look to buy for a long-term swing, but we got to wait for that, and we got to wait for some type of shift in structure. When we went to the 1 hour, seeing the divergence on the daily and then seeing this 1 hour shift gave us confidence to call this buy, and it hit the 78.6 and moved, and it's almost at 1 to 3, I think. And it's looking like it's going to continue up. Depending on how it moves from here is going to be how I assess the probabilities to the upside. So if it comes down back into this area, it's just like the dollar. It's still an opportunity, but it is low risk because it's most likely going to sweep out those lows first and then kind of give that Wyckoff a spring test move and then get out. And it's okay to be wrong. That's another thing. It's okay to be wrong in the market. Just know where your probabilities are higher and lower. So right now, if I'm wrong, that's okay, because it's a half a risk, or it's 1% versus 2%. It won't be much, but I'll tell you this: if it does come down here and I buy, and then it slips here, and then it makes a move just like this, well, I'm gonna buy again right here, and I'm gonna take my chances again. If it comes up here and there's divergence still, there might be a lower time frame correctional opportunity. Okay, and this is the euro futures, but it looks the exact same on EU. So when you see that, kind of just throw it over to the euro EU and understand that's going to look almost the same. The pound looks the exact same. There's not even anything different. I'm not even going to go over it. If it makes an impulsive move, I'm going to play the pullback. If it makes this move up and there's still this divergence, you got to be careful, and you maybe want to look for the correction at the very least. Once it comes back into here, though, it's game time, right? If it pops all the way up here before waving out like that, if it does a straight shot up into this liquidity, that's a selling opportunity if I've ever seen one. Scary, but yes. Australian dollar, guys, doing exactly what has been planned out as well. This was a spot on week. Impulse out of here, broke structure. I've been saying the Aussie looks stronger than the yen, or than the euro and the pound. So if you go to the daily, you can just kind of see the big move up, the correction versus yikes and yikes, right? So The Aussie ultimately is the one that has won over the euro and the pound. And so that's why I was really confident in this buy on the 1 hour. Okay, it broke structure very clean and perfect ABC retracement with low volume the whole way, low volume the whole way on the pullback. When it got into the area of interest, volume picked up. I mean, it doesn't get any more picture perfect than that, guys. If you want to study a perfect scenario, this would be it. You can also see that the volume profile had a ton of volume between 0.6875 and 0.6879, pretty much 5 pips right here. And it came right into that and then moved out. So knowing those areas of interest, knowing how to read the volume gives you such a good high probability. This is most likely going to extend up. I would like to see this volume pick up a little bit more to confirm that this is going to continue. If we get the divergence, guys, it's the same shit. If this comes up here like this and this is like this tomorrow, these are areas where we're already looking forward to possibly sell off at. So we would, if we get this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into that, well, then we should definitely expect a reaction. But that might take a couple of days, might be a little later into the week. Tomorrow, this looks like it's coming up. So if I go to the 15 minutes, I do like this opportunity here a lot. So maybe look for the Aussie to try to make a pullback and then a move up. One thing that I will say with experience that I don't like about these type of setups, we have the beautiful impulse, we have the beautiful ABC wave, and we have the beautiful move out. Now, what would have been beautiful if we could have kept saying beautiful is if this would have corrected deeper. It didn't correct deep at all. So now there's still this area where there's still this area here of what I call inefficiency. Some people call it imbalance. Some people call it, I don't know what they call it anymore these days. But kind of just this area right here seems still probable that it's going to get hit. And also this liquidity right here seems possible that it could get hit. So for me, when the market doesn't do like a full move retracement and then a move up like this, it makes me think instead of just fibbing this move right here, I need to fib the whole move possibly. Okay, so normally I would just fib like this, but this is too sus to me. So I need to go like this, and this is going to be the area right below, and we'll delete some yellow, right below the liquidity is basically going to be my entries. And if I don't get it, that's okay, right? I would rather it kind of make this move all the way down here, take this out, make it kind of look like it's going to drop maybe even, and then ultimately kind of make another extended move out. This could even go all the way up here and it would change this zone a lot. Okay, so depending on where this stops is where I'm going to put my fib. Another thing, I would rather it just go ahead and break. That's risky. That's another half risk. I haven't found a beautiful full risk trade that I would want someone to really take, honestly, fellas and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. But on the lower time frames, yes, this looks like it's going to continue up. Let's go to the Swiss, and this is just continuing down, 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 down. Trying to buy it right now is tough. It really is tough. So anything, if I look at this on the lower time frame and there's a buying opportunity, guys, we got to half risk it. On the daily, though, we have been looking at this area for price to react off of it based off of fibs, and it got pretty damn close, but ultimately not in there yet. It probably will get to that area. So I'm going to just kind of delete some of this stuff over here so I can just kind of see really where we are now. So it looks like it came into this area right here on the some weekly volume, and we've reacted nice off of that weekly volume. There's some more weekly, it looks like maybe monthly volume down here. Yeah, this is a monthly volume level at 1.0373, 1.37303. 373. Yeah, so we're right at the a monthly level. I think this is going to make one more move down, and then that might be kind of the. I mean, this is the area I'm looking for it to go up, and it would make sense to make one more move down. The 4-hour momentum isn't quite diverged yet. It's just a big blob. So if maybe there's another 1 or 2 4-hour candles that bring this back into like the zero line, and then we get another move down, and ultimately the next move down isn't going to have as much momentum to give it something like this, because on the 1 hour, the 1 hour definitely has the divergence here, but it's almost like an equal low situation. So equal lows will probably get swept. And in this situation, equal highs. So I could see them clearing boards on both sides. I would stay away from CHF pairs until there is a clear decision. And there will be a clear decision, because it's coming into an area where not like a clear decision, but right now the probabilities are all over the place. I wouldn't play this for shit. But if we get a clear break here, that clearly breaks this pretty much, then we will know that this area probably isn't going to get hit. But if we get one of these like sketchy low volume moves up with a divergence here, this is probably going to come back down into this area, take out these. And then if we get both of those, well, goodness gracious, we have to look for buys right here, right? So it's more of a, let's be patient for the CHF, probably not trade USHF unless it does, a move like this. Because if this bad boy does this right here, if we get this move, USHF is dying. USHF is going to go to the ground. And I don't really trade any other CHF pairs except USHF. But it would be the pair to trade tomorrow if this really rallies up and the dollar really rallies down. It would be the pair to trade. So if there is a 5-minute opportunity like that, I think it could be a good possibility. So I say stay away from the CHF, and then I say it could be a good possibility. This is more of an experienced trader's view. That is the funniest thing I've said all string. Don't trade USHF tomorrow. And how about that? I'll trade it. Oh man, this is going to be picture perfect, guys. So I think the yen is about to pop, which means that a lot of the yen pairs are going to drop. All right, let me look at this on the daily. And it came right into the 78.6 on the daily. This is that swing. And let's delete this lower time frame or get it out of the daily for now. Okay. In my swing zone for UJ, it has a perfect harmonic pattern, all that jazz. Volume is starting to increase. Did I just delete that? Volume is starting to increase on the move that isn't doing much. So that's kind of saying that there's a lot of participants here, regardless of what the price is doing. There's a lot of volume. And I've been off my game. I need to continue it like this for the rest of the stream. Okay, the 4-hour is showing that we are in this week's area of volume, but we're breaking above it. And the next area of volume is right at the 38.2 and the old all-time highs. So that's the target basically of where I want to see price get to next. On the 1-hour, it's rejecting. Let's see, what is it rejecting? this little supply area, but ultimately this looks like one of the most perfect, impulse moves. And that's why I had it fibbed out. It hit the 78.6, it hit it twice, and then we're getting the impulse. So we had the impulse A, B, C, and now we're impulsing again. If we do end up, following through with this, it should probably look something like this and come out of that with another like bigger impulse and be able to play, some type of correction back above the old all-time highs. And because I'm looking for this to start to come up. Now, this could just be a little early sign of strength, and we still might take these lows out, but this opportunity looks good for me. Let's go to the 5-minute. And if there is a pullback, it might be worth looking at some of these other Forex pairs. Gold. So gold was the money shot this week, the perfect money shot, 6-to-1 risk to reward. We're not going to go over that though. We're going to look at the daily and see where we are on the daily, and if this is really about to start going up or not. That's the question. I thought I saved the tool that I needed to not. There we go. And then here we go. Come on. Full screen. Okay. So delete this. And this is the area we wanted gold to get into before it moved up. It didn't quite get there. I'll show you this. Silver did get into the area where I wanted it to move up. So one of the commodities got into the swing area. So that is interesting. But gold is kind of taking its time a little bit, making it seem a little more corrective than like a trend switch, in my opinion. So yes, I am looking for gold to kind of go up. Really, this area right here is where I would think it's going to stop at. It already stopped in this swing area up here. So the next play really on gold is another little move up and then another move down into this swing area possibly. Even though silver is already in this area, I still think it's going to come up into this anyway as well and drop too. So the gold silver lineup that I like to use is looking good. On the 1 hour, it's showing the divergence. So this might pull back deeper into this area that's still open. We had 2 days worth of volume right here that was not tested. And with the divergence that we're seeing right here, I'm going to probably look for gold to sell off at this area. If I'm going to give a price, this is the futures market, so it's not going to be the spot price, but that is very close to the area, and it would be something like this. $50 pip stop, 50 pip TP off of divergence. And simply boom, 1-to-1. Don't even think about it like it's not a good setup. You could bring this down to 2-to-1 if you want, because I do believe the 50 EMA is going to be, yeah. So ultimately on a divergent setup, you can target this 50 EMA all day long. For gold, I like to do 50 pips. Is it 50? Yeah, that's 50. So on gold, I like that's 20, isn't it? Hold on. This is the way to do it really. Inputs, risk, 25%, lot size entry, ticks, stop, 50. Yeah, well, that looks like 50 to me. But if yep, that's 50. Okay, perfect. So yeah, this is what I'm looking at for gold tomorrow. Really, this looks like the best setup. If I'm looking at my system, this looks like the best setup for me, probabilistically. So I like the way, I like the way gold is looking. It looks kind of low white crawfish on the distributive side, but ultimately if it comes back into this, it's probably a buy. But you can see just the major divergence stepping in right now. Even if I had to refine this to maybe give it more of an average price, yeah, this is a good limit order. um, is AB on this call right now? If AB's on this call right now, take note of this. I'll actually, I don't know how to take a picture when I'm in this mode of it, so I'll take a picture, and we'll look at gold to add to our. Yeah, it's not there yet, so don't worry. That's my favorite setup so far today. Next. Don't do me like this. TradingView and internet. Do not do me like this. Am I still connected, chat? Is it TradingView?
And there you go. He's back. Welcome
I
back.
have no idea what happened. I guess my internet just like stopped working. Sorry about that.
Welcome back. Welcome
I
back.
think we are okay though now. I fucking hate when that shit happens. Sorry. Share screen. Stop. Okay, we should be good. Share up here. Boom, boom, boom. Nope. Wrong buttons. There we go. And we're back. Okay. Everyone should be able to hear me. Everyone should be able to see me. We should be able to good to go. All right. I'm surprised people are still on. Y'all are awesome. Okay. Silver, though, yeah, it looks like it's going to do that same thing. It has the divergence. It needs to correct a little bit. This is looking interesting. Let's go to the next pair, oil. And oil, I was wrong about oil. I did call a sell in the premium chat or a sell opportunity, and I was wrong about that big time. Let's go to the daily and see what the daily is looking like. It's starting to break out. It's still underneath this 50 EMA, so it's early, but this does to me look like it's about to start to go to the upside. I need to move my iPad now. Little bit of divergence though, so we're probably going to get a pullback. This is going to be an interesting area right here when it comes back into this, because this is where it sold off and then went bullish. So this is the area, if you trade oil, you want to look for. It's the top side of the trend line as well. So if the market could pull all the way back into there, that would be the area of interest I'm looking for oil. Definitely, definitely, definitely. The VIX is literally the reason why things are popping off. The day that the VIX did this is the day we call the melt. And ultimately, I think this is going to rally. I've been calling the VIX to make a pop, and it's just I haven't been able to time it 100%, and it finally did it exactly what I wanted it to do. So now there's no way that I'm going to expect it to come back down. It popped, it did exactly what I wanted. So now I'm waiting for the retracement and a move up. So ultimately, I don't need this 50 EMA on the chart. Yes, the VIX did come right back into the mean, right back into the mean of where we've been since 2020. But I'm looking for this to pop. And when the VIX pops, the indices, they go up or they go down. So the VIX popped and the indices dropped. This was in the swing zone. It all made sense. So we're looking for these to correct and then drop big time. All indices we're looking to correct and then drop. They still need to correct a good amount as well. So there's a little bit of waiting if you want a high probability sell on the indices. Maybe there's some probabilistic plays to buy it on the lower time frames up into this area, but you can see last week's point of control chilling right here in between these two fibs that the discounted pricing, fuck the fib, it's just discounting pricing. And I think that was kind of the top of the indices for a while. We had the major divergence that was being set in like the whole time the market was going up. this was not even close to coming up. And then especially more recently, we got that. And then the big impulse here, we haven't seen this big of an impulse in a while. The whole correction, we get the biggest impulse since. So yeah, this is definitely going to be something we look for to go come up, yes, then correct. Playing the correction is the hard part because at any point it could just snap down again. And then it could come up and you'd be like, well, damn. So really waiting for that area right here is going to be the key point for the all the indices. The hard part is going to be how are we going to play it in this area? So let's go down to maybe the 15. Let's go to the 1 hour first. And you can see the market did make this move down with the MACD coming up. So it gave the divergence and then we're getting a pop. So if we can break above this level, we should see the market start to correct. There's nothing too hard about that. I want to see some of the other okay, this one is a little bit, I mean, it's similar. Let me delete these big zones that price reacted off of. Kind of redraw this. That's where I want this to get to. Supply area. Same thing. It's just it's too corrective in my opinion to really try to look for buys unless you're just like, if you're a straight bull on this market, obviously moves like this is what you want to look for. You want to look for these impulses and then the deeper corrections and you be in good profit. But for me, I'm going to need either this to break or I'm going to need a spring and then a move up to look for buys because I see it, I see how it needs to correct. So it would make sense right here for them to give this. It does have this Wyckoff look to it. So that would make sense here. It would also make sense. It wouldn't make as much sense here, but I guess if they sent it all the way back down here, I mean, I would still look for it to do that as well. An impulse up, I'm playing buys most likely. And then what's the US 30 looking like? Or where's my NASDAQ? Did my NASDAQ get erased? That's okay. Let me add that back on here somehow. Same shit though. A whole lot of mess on this one. Let's see what we got. That was a money. Same thing. It's same thing. If it breaks above here, it looks good for the buy. If it makes a spring down, it looks good for wait for it to pop back up and then boom. I want to check the bonds. The bonds are moving up a lot. So when bonds go up, usually the stock market goes down because if you can invest in something that's going to give you 3.3% return no matter what, why wouldn't you take that? But I will say the divergence is getting pretty heavy here. So the bonds I think are going to top out soon. But I think they're going to top out around the 4%. And that would be so logical and so psychological level. If you don't know about bonds, don't worry about it. If this gets up to 4, I will be surprised. But at this point, I could see the 2-year going to 4 and then the 10-year only being at like 3.5. And that would be the biggest inversion people have talked about in forever, I bet. And so, yeah, this is all making sense. And then once this gets back into here, ultimately bonds are probably going to rocket again, which we're not going to get into the macro-ness of this. Bitcoin, bitty. Okay. I want to give my macro thesis on Bitcoin, but I'm going to save this for my premium channel because I probably said it already a million times, so you can go back on my YouTube and look at it if you really want to know. But there's an opportunity coming in the crypto market that is a once in a blue moon opportunity. I don't know how many years it comes along, not many. And the premium channel, we're going to take 100% advantage of it. But I will give my thesis on Bitcoin here. It did not give the full retracement that we ultimately wanted to see it come all the way up here to give. It didn't get all the way up there. It still could, but and if it does, I'll still be bearish. But with the price action that we saw and the volume, I think we're going to continue to the downside from here now, especially with the dollar probably going to break highs and move up again. I just see this coming. I just see this coming down. The momentum is still really strong to the downside, but this is where it gets interesting. I think we're going to start to see the divergence kick in. And I still have these plotted on here. That's funny. This is the new moon and the full moon, and the new moons have been tops technically, and the full moons have been bottoms. And so just the timing of this would be interesting if we do get something like this where the market pulls all the way back up right before the new moon. And it's so not me to talk like this. So if you're new to my channel or new to this, I just did one little comparison looking at the moon's cycles, and noticed that a lot of the times when there's a new moon, it calls a local top. And if there's a full moon, it calls a local bottom. And I would be damned if this thing does something like this around this damn time. Okay. And then if it actually makes this lower low around the time of a full freaking moon, I won't even know what to think. Okay. All I'll know is I'm be playing these freaking astronomical moves. If all that stuff happens, guys, I will, like AB said, I will lose my shit. But hey, it's lining up. And there's a quote that say something about billionaires study astrology. And hey, who knows? Okay. And just so y'all know, I'm not like crazy. I might as well just do this real quick. Just so y'all can see what I'm seeing. This is the full moons, and I'll make them, the full moons are going to be yellow, and then the new moons are going to be dark. Okay. And then we don't need growing and waning, but just so you can see what I'm saying, like tops and bottoms, it's low key been like random. It's low key been really, really random. So if we get a pull back into a new moon, I sound so weird, but look what happens every time there is a pullback into a new moon. A pullback into a new moon, a pullback into a new moon. So golly, if this happens, you'll probably think I'm like the goat or something, but I am. Okay. Ethereum is the same thing. Okay. We're looking for Ethereum to come up and then basically hold at these fibs and drop into this level. And at that point, we have to assess, because that's where things get very interesting, and that's where things get interesting for the premium channels. But there is good weekly liquidity right here. So I don't really care about this trend line. I want to see this do this. And if we get that, I don't really care for the moon phases like that, guys. I really don't. But if we get something like this, of course, Bitcoin kind of runs the space, and they would both kind of line up. That would make sense. All right. So that's kind of like what I'm looking for on these guys. It's more of a correctional move if you're buying it, and there's nothing wrong with that because I do think the market needs to come up for sure. But for me, when I see correctional moves, I need to wait for impulses in between inside the correction, or I need to see manipulation first. So that's just how I kind of play that, right? But that is it for me, guys. What I'm seeing really on the forex side is you need to be careful if you're trading UChef, number one, because the dollar does look like it could be bearish, but at the same time, it has bullish divergence coming up. So it could do a snap down, boom, real quick. But UChef is also in an area where the CHF could pop. And if the CHF pops, this is going to die. So ultimately, what we're going to do here is we're going to look at this and we're going to take this area. And if this area breaks, and look what I'm going to do, removed all drawings. We're going to look at this one right here. If 9606 breaks with vengeance, it's on. It's fucking on. Trust me. And I'm talking like I don't want to. I need to see it break. We need to know that this level just got bitch slapped, and then we come up, and this will be an easy opportunity. But if this thing plays around and plays around and plays around, and then gets there kind of like this, no, this thing's probably going to go up and do that. So we need to see clear break. We need to really even see this break. That would be money. And this will be like the setup. I don't trade UCAD, so don't ask. Euro, like I said, here's this. It's kind of similar scenario. We would like to see it break major style, major breaks, and then we play the retest. Got to be careful because there are some liquidity levels that it could just be shooting up to sell off from. But this area looks like the best, in my opinion, up here for it to get to. EA, I don't really trade EA that much. Doesn't look pretty. EG looks ugly. Basically, whenever the dollar looks like it has an opportunity, you don't want to trade any other pairs besides dollar pairs. That's just how it goes. Because when the dollar moves a certain way, all the other currencies are going to move the opposite, right? So, and that's not every time, but that's like a rule of thumb. Because if the dollar's bullish, Euro's bearish, Aussie's bearish, GBP's bearish, usually yen's bearish, and like everything's bearish. So when you're trying to pair anything against any of those, it's not a good idea. But whenever the dollar is bullish and everything else is bearish, well then trade only the dollar because those are the ones that are going to move the most. It kind of makes sense. Just don't be dumb. You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding. GN, take care. Have a great night. Hope you learned something. All right. So GU definitely has it's an opportunity. We missed this one. I don't know if I like it anymore. It is still there. There's definitely still the opportunity that presents itself here on GU at the 78.6. I don't want to not say it's not there, but I like gold a lot better. I like even EU maybe a lot better than that. But it's the same thing. If it breaks up, I would like to see an impulsive move up, regardless of what it does here. If it makes an impulsive move up, then I'm playing. This is higher probability than this at this point. So yeah, maybe low risk setup here still, since there is some inefficiency there, but you got to be careful because of all of this liquidity actually is just sitting here now. So it could definitely do this and go. Got to be careful. GCAD, I don't trade very much. GChef could be something to look at because of how the CHF could move. But if they're both weak, then you don't want to look at it. But this looks possible, possible right there. I don't trade it very often. GA, I don't trade very often. AU is one that I like maybe more than EA, and I like AU more than EU and GU. So this move right here looks better to me than they all look pretty damn similar, if I'm going to be honest, except this one. This one looks the weakest. So really EU and AU look very similar to me. I just, for some reason, I like the way AU looks the most. I think we're going to get a move like that on AU. So I'm watching AU. I don't trade NU a lot. UJ, based off of the yen, I would love to see this really start to break some structure. Not this like kind of break structure stuff, not this like 5-minute structure stuff. I would like to see it make a real move again to confirm that this is really going to drop. And with the dollar being in a weird area, it's not the highest probability area yet, but it's the same thing like the CHF. If this thing does fall out with a big candle, I do believe we're going to be able to catch a good pullback drop with high probability, based off of the yen. EJ, which one looks the best to sell? That's going to be the question. And it's not EJ. EJ looks the best to buy. So EJ looks like a good buy setup, actually, a very good buy setup. So I'm actually going to put an alert here. If it gets here, I bet 1-to-1 will hit. It's the first alert I put all day. GJ, it's 2 sideways. You got to wait. AJ, does it look like it's going to sell off yet? Yeah, it does. It's in a good selling area. So if AJ breaks this level here, you really can bank on a pretty solid high probability move. See if any of the other ones have a move like that. This one is still setting up in this broad wedge type move, rising wedge type move. So it's most likely the same type of time. If it does have a breakout down, you should be able to look for the pullback with high probability. I'm not going to play that one. Gold, like I said, is the one that I like the most, honestly. It has the good divergence. And so let's draw it on the spot price now. Here is an area where if it gets to, it should sell off. This is going to be the order divergence fibs that I placed before I go to sleep tonight. So let's see if I can get some confluence going here. That would be great. Okay. So the 78.6 from this impulse to this low is right above the divergence fib that I like to trade from. So I'm okay with that. I'm going to take this short right here at this divergence fib. Where's the 50 EMA? Right here is 1-to-1. So I'm not even going to look for that. I'm going to look for it like this and then put like a 1-to-1 from here. So I think that is sufficient as hell. If it breaks up, this is a strong level. So if there is a break to the upside, I highly doubt that it goes all the way up here before retesting here. So this is the mean reversion play. And this is definitely what we've been back testing a bunch on gold. So the divergence is there. Here's the fib, beautiful money shot. Even on the 15-minute, when you drop it down one more time frame, there's divergence. So from this to this equals the exact same divergence price. So that is just You don't get that every day. And I usually do 50 and 50. So let's just stick with what I usually do, 50 and 50. All right. And so that's the main play tonight before we go to bed for gold. Limit order status for sure. For sure. And that's it, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and do some back testing on gold a little bit. And then we're going to see the market tomorrow. Maybe AB will do some live trading for the premium. But yeah, appreciate it, y'all. Have a good one.